Happy Tuesday. Welcome on in. Welcome in. I am going live across all platforms. So give me 1 second as I set up. Let's see what we got. Oh, here we go. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I am just working through the typical usual tech support. Let's see what we got. Details. Happy Tuesday. You know, I have to give a huge shout out to LinkedIn because they're the ones that actually have me doing lives more consistently with all of the support, especially in the creator community. So shout out to LinkedIn. Shout out to Bianca because she's been holding it down. Okay. Come on in. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We are going live from Instagram, from Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And today we're going to be talking about the shame of under-accomplishment. And it doesn't really get talked about a lot, so we're going to just talk more feelings and what these things kind of come up for us. Come on in, where you're from, how you living, you know. Hi, guys. Hi, new faces. And happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I don't know about y'all, but April kind of flew. Can we talk about that after this? Not sure if I like that. But welcome to today's weekly live. Again, my name is Bianca Jeanty. I'm a career strategist and international speaker, and I help seasoned professionals master the backdoor job hunt so they can successfully and confidently switch careers. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about the shame of under accomplishment. And this actually came up in a coaching session. And I feel like there's some nuances that don't necessarily get talked about, especially when we talk about careers. You know, we jump onto LinkedIn and, you know, you see all these job updates and you just feel like, let me just head on out because I don't have anything good to contribute just yet. And that some of those things actually might signal some larger conversations about careers and under accomplishment. So that's what we're going to talk about. This is going to be more of a 20-minute chat. Excuse me. This is more of a 20-minute chat. Stay until the end. Have two big announcements for anybody that is in the position of their career where they're ready to make a switch. I know that the panoramic has definitely inspired a lot of that as we are entering into season 3. But again, we're just going to talk a little bit more about that. So this conversation is not necessarily as structured as some of the previous lives that we've had in the past, where we talked about just the blind spots, the myths, the et cetera. But this is really around a larger conversation as it pertains to detaching our own self-worth away from our career identities. And then once you start to go through that process of really just living life and really thinking about what are the things that you want in your personal vision, some shame does come up. So I want to talk with y'all about that. If y'all have any questions or comments, drop them over in the community. I'm looking over through multiple screens. So if you see me bouncing back and forth, it's because I'm trying to cater to both of y'all, right? Hi, Colin. Okay, great. Awesome. So a little bit about myself, if you are new here. Okay. Again, I am a career strategist. I recently just took this on as of July, and it's been such an amazing journey to take a lot of my previous experience and share that with the community. And so what I really focus on is with seasoned professionals. With seasoned professionals, I feel like that's where a lot of things break. Okay. And so when a lot of things break, and then there aren't necessarily as many resources as you would see, let's say in entry level or when you are at the executive level in some way. Hold on 1 second. So that's something to consider is why I really go so hard for the people that have been in their careers for a decent amount of time. We got bills, we have student loans, we have responsibilities, probably families, partners, etc. And so when we think about career flexibility, it doesn't necessarily cater to our demographic, especially since it doesn't necessarily feel like there's a way for us to do that. A lot of the common advice that comes up is, take a pay cut, start from the top. I firmly believe that you do not need to do that. And in the process of being able to identify what your superpower is, there are going to be some feelings that come up. Just like anything that requires you to grow, it requires a little bit of discomfort because it's just unfamiliar. So that being said, a conversation came up with one of my beloved clients, and she's literally actively making the pivot, and she's excellent. And it really just triggered my attention to talk a little bit more about this, right? The shame of under-accomplishment. And let me talk about what under-accomplishment could mean. And if you're on this live, I'm sure that you have at least some sort of you can put some context clues together. Y'all smart. But really just feeling like I didn't do enough in my career, or I didn't do enough for me to leave, or I did not, I feel like I do everything, but I haven't done enough to feel like I'm successful over in this chapter. And it kind of puts you in a little bit of a mental rabbit hole where then you just don't make any move. It really just triggers a bunch of inaction. So even in thinking about that, it was kind of surprising to hear, her actually share that as we were going, oh my gosh, as we were going through, are we still here? Okay, cool. As we were going through some of the exercises, it was one of the things that came up in conversation among a number of different clients, was just like feeling like we waited too long to make a move in our careers, right? And so in thinking that, you see all the things that you've accomplished, you go through that, the auditing process, because one thing about it, I'm gonna make you audit. Okay, I'm gonna make you audit. But going through that process, it's like, okay, I've done so much. Okay, I feel guilty, or I feel ashamed that I did not make a move when I could have, right? Or I knew that there was an opportunity for me to advocate for myself and I didn't do it. Or I knew that there was an opportunity for me to take a different job and I was too afraid to do it because it didn't necessarily feel like it made sense. Or if I want to talk to, my partner or my family about it, the lateral movement, the natural progression of my career doesn't make sense. So if it doesn't make sense, I'm not going to necessarily move. And so now that you're in the process of actually being courageous and making the move for yourself, feelings of shame come up, right? Even if you've done all of it. So this is where I want us to talk about under-accomplishment and this activated feeling that comes up. And the reality of it is, even my client and a lot of other people were over-accomplished, right? Like in this instance, she's brilliant, delicately honest. Even she described herself as that. And I believe that when she said it, it resonated so much, because I know for a fact with the way that life is set up, sometimes there are priorities that get pushed over to the back burner until something forces us to really recognize that we need to operate a little bit strongly in our power. And so that comes up when we're sitting here and we're like, okay, I think it's time for a career switch. A lot of us have tied or grown up in the team no sleep culture. We've grown up in the, put your head down, do your work, or even a lot of us, I'm a first generation immigrant, like from family. So at that point, I want to make sure that all of my family's sacrifices really manifest themselves over into accomplishments. And so that being said, I remember leaving a job and I feel like I didn't do anything. Like I didn't do enough. And it was so bizarre because I was closing multi-year contracts for upward $800,000, upward $1 million. And I still felt in my brain, somewhere in my brain, it just didn't feel like I was enough, right? And that's what it really came down to. Am I enough? And we over here talking, it's giving career Yama, is it not? It's giving career Yama a little bit, but that's what it comes down to, right? I felt like I literally did everything. I was trying to prove myself to my manager, to account executives, to team members, even to my parents, as I mentioned before, all that pressure. And when I actually left and I sat there and I'm like, oh my goodness, did I even do anything substantial? Like, do I have anything to show for? If I do want to go back over into the job market, can I talk to a recruiter and actually tell them what it is that I did? Because I don't know if it's legit. Like, I don't know if it's going to make sense. And so I say all that to say, you're dope. You are excellent. You're that girl. You're that guy. You're the person. And somewhere along the way, we literally just lost a little bit of footing over in our own personal vision. My philosophy as it pertains to careers and work, as much as I'm a career coach, you're not your career, right? Like, you're not. This is something that you do. That's not your identity, because if you tie your identity rather over to your career, baby, when that career is not there, you're gonna spiral. And I'm a testament to that. The spiral is hard. Okay, so just something to consider is pull back the receipts, right? And this is why I really advocate for you to sit down and really just look at the things that you've actually done versus sit there and see and hope that somebody else can kind of validate your experience or validate your existence. You will understand that you probably were doing your manager's job. Okay. You're probably doing a coworker's job. You could do your job with your eyes closed, right? You're the go-to person. Everyone knows that they can rely on you in some way. You touch more things. You touch enough departments to collaborate. You can anticipate the needs of a ton of other people. And one of the things that I think I recognize about underaccomplishment is two pieces of this. You probably have weak boundaries, and you probably don't have a vision for yourself anyway. Yes, we're getting in. I can't hear you, please. Y'all can't hear me? Uh-oh. Molly, you can't hear me? Can y'all hear me? This is a problem, y'all. Thumbs up if you can hear me over on Instagram, and thumbs up if you can hear me on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all of the things. Only thing we need left is TikTok. Let's see what we got. Excellent, we hear you. Excellent. So yeah, that's something that I had to kind of talk to audio good, but it crackles. Dang, and I just got a new mic. That's deep. I'm gonna try not to move too much. Okay. Well, that being said, I wanted to share with you like the idea of weak boundaries and where that comes up into play. Okay. There's a ton of static. You know what? How about this? Is it better? We're gonna just, dang y'all, the tiny mic might make it. The tiny mic might not make it. Might not make it. Let me know if you guys can hear over on this end too. Excellent. Cool. So this again, yes, excellent. Okay, great. So back over to underaccomplishment. One thing that I identified for myself in particular as to like why I felt so underaccomplished was because of the fact that I did not have, yeah, but you're a little louder. Just hold it up and fake use it. You know what's interesting? I'm getting instructions on the fly here. And I'm gonna say it with my chest. I'm gonna say it with my chest. So that being said, something to consider is, I'll use myself as a personal example, right? The philosophies that I had around work was touch everything, do everything, keep your head down, make sure you basically jump on as many things as possible to prove that you're a good employee, you're a good worker, etc. But somewhere along the line, there was not necessarily enough intention about why I was doing the work that I was doing. Yes, it was a part of my job. Excellent. We got that down packed. But then it becomes a thing when somebody identifies a skill that you're really, really good at, and they're just like, oh, well, I didn't know that you were good at this. This is what we hired you for, but can you do this as well too? Yeah, of course. Back over to my philosophy of like, okay, I want to make sure that everybody sees me as that girl over in the office. And what I was actually perpetuating was somebody that was more of an executor and did not necessarily have boundaries or enough courage to say, hey, I actually can't do this, but this is something that we can do. Or because I just didn't want to let somebody down. I didn't want to let a teammate down. I didn't want that to, circulate over in terms of my reputation for not being able to do good work or to be a good employee, a good coworker, whatever it is, right? And so what it came down to is once I kept saying yes, 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 and having all these terrible, terrible, terrible boundaries, the work started to suffer. Anyway, so even as I did everything in my power to make sure that I was perceived to be this excellent top performer, my lack of boundaries was driving not only my underaccomplishment, but it was really just starting to affect the quality of my work because I just I couldn't keep handle of it. So at some point in time, there has to be a little bit more of a internal evaluation of like, okay, what is my actual personal vision for my career? Let's remove the job and the function in itself. How do I want to show up? How do I want to articulate or communicate what it is that I'm willing to do while still being able to give solutions or alternatives, and also being able to get the job done, whether I touch it or not. Maybe my ego was driving a lot of my career decisions to want to touch this project because I want to be seen or I want to be perceived as this person, when sometimes you don't need to be seen in order for you to be felt. Just saying, you don't need to be seen. Sometimes you do not need to be seen on every single project in order for you to be felt. So I say all that to say the things that I started to practice a little bit more, just as like the under accomplishment piece, is recognizing I had to pull my own receipts to myself. Like, imagine you being the go-to person that's always encouraging everybody, and then you forgot how to encourage yourself. That don't make sense. That doesn't make sense. So that means going through not just my resume and the projects that I worked on, which is important, right? But even recognizing, okay, how do I collaborate with team members? Do I like the way that I show up? Do I like the way that I speak up in meetings? Do I feel like I need to speak up in meetings? Do I articulate my needs over to my manager, which I think is another conversation we can table for another day? Is my manager's job is to make sure that I am getting all the resources in order for me to be successful. Am I doing a good enough job to put my manager in the best position to actually support me? That becomes another conversation, because in the schema of under accomplishment, there is also a feeling that I'm not allowed to ask for help either, because I don't want to be perceived as dumb. I don't want to be perceived as stupid if I ask this question, etc. And there are ways for you to get your needs met and to show up confidently and courageously to say like, hey, I actually don't really know how to do this, and I want to make sure that I get it right. This is the way I'm thinking about it, etc. There are ways to work around that. But at the end of the day, none of these things, all these tactics and strategies on how to say this, how to, do what, etc. It doesn't matter if you don't really believe that you're worth it or you're enough, or you don't have boundaries to protect yourself to make sure that you are able to perform in the best way possible. So I say all that to say, questions, comments, concerns. There are no major. This is just a talk back more so than anything else, to really give yourself some time to think about, okay, do I actually feel under accomplishment? Okay, if I feel that way, is it true? Right? Is that an accurate assessment of what it is that I've done? Do I feel like I'm doing busy work at work right now? Have I spoken up to my supervisors or my VPs or my directors to be able to work on something that's a lot more substantial, right? So there becomes more conversations that you really have to have with yourself in order for you to figure out like, okay, this under accomplishment, I don't want to have anxiety jumping onto LinkedIn because I can't provide a job update and I'm seeing all the rest of my friends or all the rest of my colleagues and my peers leave to go to companies, they're leveling up, and I'm feeling stuck, right? And a lot of that comes back to just you internally spiraling back, and there has to be a reprogramming or a change in philosophy on how you view work to begin with. It's kind of, what it's giving? It's giving like the final episode of Insecure, where Issa was just watching all of her friends just, progress over in their lives. And she's just sitting there like, dang, this ain't it. Okay. And so at a certain point, she did have to go back internally in order for her to figure out like, okay, is this really about me being under accomplished, or is it really just me having to redefine what my worth really means to me? Because people pleasing does show up over at work. Capitalism can take advantage of that. Another conversation for another day, right? And there's a way for you to be a high performer, work on the strategic projects that really show you in your power, show you as a visionary, show you as the person that not only can execute, but bring something from the beginning of a cycle to the end of a cycle, and not necessarily have to be hands-on in order for it to happen. So Anywho, I say all that to say, I hope that helps. This conversation helps you really sit down and do a little bit more internal reflection. I do my best to not give, how do you say, a lot of fluffy information or fluffy conversations, just because I think that there's a component of it that sometimes we just need the information, right? We just need the, we got the platform. We just need the, we have the vision. We just need the platform, right? But I think that to a certain degree, the mindset is important in order for all these other things to manifest. Okay, so let me look at some of the questions and some of the comments in here. Okay, so we was in church. Sorry, y'all. Let's imagine y'all pastor that has a little tiny mic like this. So we're gonna look over at comments. I'm scrolling back up. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so this is, I'm scrolling back into the point where everyone told me that they hated my mic. Excellent. Yes, much better sound. I love the baby mic too, but baby mic just gonna be here for a prop for the time being. So anytime you see any TikTok videos, LinkedIn videos, Pinterest videos, any content from me holding the microphone, it's not actually plugged in. The gag is up. I'm here for radical transparency, honesty, all of the things. Yes, 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 yes. Hey, Walt. Okay, wait, is this a tiny? Yes, it is a tiny mic. Just got us all. I got myself together, if we're being honest, because you know what's interesting. So my perspective on a lot of decision making or conversations around career really go back to who we are as people or as humans. Yes, we are making business decisions, but as it pertains to our careers, that's very, very personal, right? Like I know that for me, I used a lot of my career to build this sense of confidence that by the time some shifts happened over in my career, I actually recognized how fake it was. It wasn't as substantial or as solid as I thought that it was when some shift or a change in title happened. And I'm like, oh my God, can I help people? Will people still believe in me? Will they want to work with me? Do I have real relationships? When the reality of it is like, that was a messed up or jacked up way to think about myself anyway. That wasn't fair. Why would I only use myself for my career when I wouldn't want somebody to use me for that only as well, right? Unless it is that professional nature of a relationship. So that wasn't really fair. It goes back to knowing our worth and ramping up the confidence. Yeah. And Dominique, even in knowing your worth and the confidence, oftentimes that comes with clarity. Think about it this way. So I don't know if everyone's in like the spring cleaning section of, this season. I've been going through the closet. I've been going through the Tupperware. I've been going through, it's giving Marie Kondo. Like it's doing a lot in here, right? But something to note is like, as soon as I just started to evaluate all the things that I had in my apartment, everything I had in my closet that I didn't need, that, oh, I thought this was useful. Oh, this is cool. Okay, I don't need this anymore. Right? I can move a lot more nimble. This is great to have, but no longer need it. Okay, we're going to keep this. I'm moving around my house just freely. And I didn't have to manufacture a level of confidence to find out where my Tupperware was. I just knew I had it. Right? So at that point, there is a decision that starts with courage, right? The courage enough to make the decision and to go through the process. Confidence is a byproduct of the actions that you take to show that you are actually reflecting back over to God, universe, the world, etc., that you actually love and believe in yourself enough to make these decisions. And oftentimes that shows up in work too. As much as we, like I said, we can talk tacticals all day, right? We can talk tacticals about the things that we need to do on updating resumes, LinkedIn. Yes. And there are tons of strategies and to be able to do that strategically. But the reality of it is, if you don't believe in yourself enough to do it, your LinkedIn's not going to get updated, and neither is your resume. Okay, how can you overcome the fear of asking for help from others, especially supervisors? I think folks go into work wanting to solve anything. Well, I guess, so I remember I had a conversation with a mentor one time, and I was just struggling. And this is something that has been a resounding theme about asking for help, right? Like, I think I'll probably recirculate that newsletter. If you have subscribed, link in bio. But I had a conversation with a mentor one time, and this was completely not work related. And I was just sharing that I was having like a little bit of issues with just like, I don't know, like, I don't want to ask for help. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be perceived as like the girl that can't do it. And we can unpack that later. But my mentor basically said to me, like, if you have such an issue, if you're so willing to help other people and you have an issue asking for help, how do you view the people that you're helping? I was like, okay, you're a little loud and you're in my house and I would like for you to leave. Thank you so much. So there's something to be said about the subconscious feeling that we have about asking for help because we don't want to be seen as inferior, less than, weaker, but we are helping people left and right all the time. So how do you view them? And it's like, oh no, I don't view them like that. Well, no. A part of you does. Because we reflect back to how we see ourselves or how we believe in ourselves or how we operate through relationships with other people, right? So to a certain degree, if you are afraid of asking for help because you don't want to be seen as inferior, there's a part of you that may actually potentially feel like other people are inferior when you're helping them, even though you're like, no, I would never. Take a look at it. Listen, I'm offering it up. Take a look at it, leave. But as it pertains to overcoming the fear, maybe sometimes it's a matter of just language, but it comes down to you really believing that, like, okay, let's do, math. I don't know. I don't know if it's math or geometry. Well, math is geometry. Stay with me. So let's say you need to ask your supervisor for help in some way. You're afraid to ask because of why. Why are you afraid to ask for help? Is it because you don't want to be perceived as like the teammate that can't get it done? Did you wait too long to ask for help? Were you over here faking the funk the entire time? So get real with yourself about why it is that you feel a way about asking for help and asking for support, because it's their job to help you. So if you are putting your manager in a position to not be able to help you, you're effectively impacting their job. So like remove the feelings and like the therapeutic life coaching conversation that we're potentially happening, but you're essentially preventing somebody else from being able to ensure that the company and the job and the projects run efficiently. So if you are not getting the resources that you need in order for you to be able to do that, you put yourself in a position to get a performance improvement plan, because if you can't speak up, what we talking about? What are we doing here, right? There, you put yourself in a position to be perceived as someone that is docile. That's also had another live about why being nice or too nice is not going to get you promoted, right? There are certain situations where you may not want your manager to hold your hand or your supervisor to hold your hand through certain projects, but if you're not getting what it is that you need, you have to speak up. At some point in time, it's going to be on you as to the reason why your career didn't land the way that it is, and not blaming, in air quotes, toxic managers when maybe you were the toxic coworker. I don't know. Let me go scroll down. All right, we're at 1:30 already. And I can't believe that y'all really had me out here just sitting here with this tiny mic that is not hooked up to anything because y'all love it so much. This is for y'all. This is for the people. It's not for me at this point, okay? Clarity. Decluttering is personal and professional. Come on, Lydia. Let's see what we got. Major keys. Yes, indeedy. Okay, so while we're at the tail end of this, I want to just share. Sometimes we have PTSD with asking for help because our managers weren't helpful in the past, and that's true, right? That is very true. Now, if you go over into a new job, a new situation, a new working environment, do not hold your new manager to your old manager's poor management skills. At some point in time, there's going to be a point where you have to step up and work at envisioning what that working relationship looks like and communicating to your manager, this is the best way that I work, and this is the best way that you're going to get value out of me and for me to work efficiently. How does that look for you? That has to be a conversation. It can't, that's not fair to your manager or to yourself, because this is another conversation. This conversation around like toxic work cultures and work environments is very, very, I'm happy that it's happening, but to a certain degree, if we're going into new environments and holding a new manager into old manager expectations, is no different from when you're dating and you go into a new relationship projecting from your previous relationship. I'm just saying, I don't know. The maths for me, I might be wrong. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Okay. And so 2 more things, and I'm going to jump. Okay. I'm going to jump. I'm just saying hi. So 2 things. This is what we talk about over in the majors. If you've been following along, I have quietly launched a group coaching program entitled The Majors, and it's really focused on mastering the backdoor job hunt. A lot of the work that we do before we even get to the networking, updating, positioning, interview piece is the mindset piece. The mindset to be able to believe that your career is going to power your personal vision that you have for yourself, and getting clear on the things that you already have and identifying where it's actually valuable over in the marketplace. And also just being able to generate a network that's going to support you through those things. So if you're feeling like there's a mindset adjustment that needs to happen, in addition to a number of other things where you're looking to switch careers, functions, industries, etc., shoot me a DM and say majors. And I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and we're going to have time on the books. We're doing pre-enrollment right now. We're going, enrollment starts next Monday. There are pre-enrollment rates. So if that's something that you're interested in, please shoot me a DM and we can talk a little bit more to see if that is something that I can help you with. But that being said, I'm also working with the good people over at Boss Magazine, and they are sponsoring one person to join the May cohort for the majors. One person within their community. So make sure that you follow along over on their Instagram page. You join their community. We've done a masterclass, and the Boss organization has probably been, they have been by far one of the best partners I've worked with in some time. And they truly believe in making sure that people are set up for success. This is a really great opportunity. If you are, let's say there's a financial component that you're looking to resolve, this is something that's an opportunity that we're going to actually share out. So we've shared that over on my newsletter. They're going to actually start to roll out their announcements today and this week as well. Come back on Thursday, 1 p.m., as I'll be talking with the founder of Boss Magazine about what this scholarship entails and just overall conversations about the majors, the community. So if that's something that you're interested in, please go ahead and follow Boss Magazine, and also subscribe to my newsletter so you can find those things, find out some more details. You have to be a part of their community in order for you to be eligible. But in the meantime, if a career switch is something that's over in the back of your head and you're ready to make a move, I work with people that go about it from a by any means necessary kind of attitude, because you're bigger than your circumstances. I think that's the biggest thing I've taken away, even for myself this year, is yes, all of these things have been happening. We have been in season 3 of the panoramic. There has been a number of life changes, but some way, somehow, I can be a testament to say that I still came out on top because I asked for the help and I got the support that I needed. And I didn't stay in the feelings of underaccomplishment and spiral. Get out of the spiral, get out of the rabbit hole, and go get free, right? Go get the things that you want and that you deserve. And if that's something that's of interest to you, shoot me a DM, majors, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But I will be back on Thursday with Boss Magazine to talk about the scholarship. That the applications will end on Friday. As I post this over on all platforms, you'll see details as to how to apply. And then we'll take it from there. I don't think that there's any more. Thank you so much, Lydia. I don't think that there are any more questions. We have went over. This was giving like Eat, Pray, Love, Bianca Von Zant Fix My Life on a Tuesday afternoon. But that being said, if this was valuable to you, you found this to be valuable, you think that there's somebody else that might find this conversation valuable, share it with them, right? Share it, pass the gospel, share it, you know what I mean? And then we'll be back every single Tuesday. I have landed on this is the time that if you want to meet and chat with Bianca, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, okay? And I will see you all soon. It's me holding this mic, like, oh God.